Well, I got a new toy to play with. This is an Everlast PowerTig 210 EXT. It's an AC/DC TIG welder that will also do stick welding. I'm very excited to have this machine because this will enable me to TIG weld aluminum, which is something that I've always wanted to learn how to do. I've done some spool gun aluminum welding in the past, and I just never liked that. I think that learning how to weld aluminum with a TIG welder is the way to go. So this morning, I want to get this thing out of the box and see what all it can do. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. A lot of stuff. Well, there is a lot of stuff in here. A couple of handles to put on the machine. We'll get those on in a second. And I know it comes with 2 different TIG torches. We'll get these out in a second and put them together. We've got a hose for your shielding gas. This is a stinger for stick welding. And it looks like we've got a ground. We got our foot pedal for TIG welding. We've got an adapter here to run this off of 110 power, and then our gas regulator. Well, as you can see, we've got plenty of options for handles. You got like a suitcase style here, and then I don't know what style you call these other ones, but that's for grabbing it with 2 hands. Eventually, I plan to build a cart to put the welder on along with the argon bottle and just keep everything together as a rolling unit. But if I ever need to pick it up, I got handles. In the past, anytime you have seen me stick weld in the shop, I've been using this Everlast 160 STH, and in the recent videos where you've seen me doing DC TIG, I've also been using this machine. I've had this Everlast welder since well before YouTube, and I've never had any problems with it. The reason why I wanted to upgrade is because this new unit does some things that the old one just doesn't. Primarily AC TIG, which allows me to weld aluminum, but also there's some features with the stick welding settings that I'm excited to try that I've never actually used before. And that is arc force and hot start. If you stick weld, you know that sometimes it's difficult to get the arc lit on your electrode, and one way to make that easier is to turn up your amperage. Well, the problem is that once you weld for a little while, if your amperage is too high, then you can start to have other issues. With hot start amps that I can set on the Everlast welder, it'll give me a higher amperage when I start, so a higher amperage to light the electrode, and then once I get going, it'll lower that amperage on its own. I think to start out, we'll see how this burns some stick electrodes. For this first weld, I'm not going to use the hot start or anything like that. I'm just going to do it normally the way I'm used to doing it, and then we can start playing with that other stuff and see how it compares. Well, once I figured out where my amperage needed to be, this thing welded really smooth. Let's try the hot start and see if it helps me at all. We're gonna go select, so there's arc force, hot start time. Let's go 2 seconds. Hot start amps. We were running at 80, so let's hot start at 100. That'll probably be plenty. Okay, that was my mistake. I thought I had it set for 2 seconds, but I had it set for 0.2 seconds. So let's try this again. Well, hot start is something that's very difficult to demonstrate on camera, but I can tell you guys that it does make a huge difference. It's actually, it does take a little bit of getting used to. The first couple times that I struck the arc with the hot start turned on, you know, my initial reaction was like, oh man, I got this set way too high. This isn't gonna work. And then, you know, you can feel that amperage or witness it sort of back down a little bit, back to where you want it. And yes, I'm well aware that most people that buy this machine will probably never stick weld with it. I'm sure that I will. I do a fair amount of stick welding here in the shop, but that's not all that this can do. So let's put together some of the TIG torches and try those out. So I'm gonna start with the 26 torch because I'm gonna be on a little bit thicker metal, and this torch is better suited for thicker metal. So that's what we're gonna do. So for steel, we're gonna do DC electrode negative. This last plug here, if we're gonna do high frequency start, then we would plug this in there. If we wanna use a foot pedal, then we would plug the foot pedal in here. So this is a big surprise to me. The lead on this torch, I haven't actually measured it, but pacing it off, I think it's about 20 feet long, which is like almost unheard of. You almost never get leads that long. What's cool about this is that if I put the PowerTig 210 on my extension cord, I could set the machine here and I could say like back the stock trailer up right here and be able to weld on it. Well, my TIG welding is certainly not perfect, but I feel like the more I practice, the more comfortable I get with it. Right now I'm just doing a high frequency start, and I would like to mess with the foot pedal a little bit, but I'm not gonna do that in this video. I'll do that on my own time, and when I feel like I get it figured out a little bit better, then I'll show you guys how all that works. So I've got a few beads put down here on steel, but the main reason that I wanted this welder was to TIG weld aluminum. So let's get some aluminum out, see if we can get this thing set up and try to TIG some aluminum. I am so happy with that. I was not expecting those kind of results for that's literally the first bead that I've ever run on aluminum with a TIG welder. I think you can kind of see as I get down towards the end of the bead that it's sinking in a little bit more, and there again, if I was running with a foot pedal, I could have backed off on the amperage a little bit. So that's gonna be the next thing that I really need to work on. But I wanna run just a few more beads, maybe try putting some pieces of aluminum together and just really familiarize myself with this. It's so much nicer than welding with a spool gun. I don't know that I will ever use my spool gun again. This is the ticket here. I've got a little booger there, but most of that's not terrible. What can I say? I'm very happy with this machine. It's done everything that I've asked it to do, and really the only limit is my own ability. The most exciting thing for me about having this welder is that it opens up the possibilities to so many more projects, things that I've wanted to do for a while, and probably some things that I haven't even thought of yet. But now that I have the capability of aluminum TIG, I'm gonna be able to do those things. I could finally fix the broken subframe on this old RM125. Take care of numerous repairs on the trailer, and even do something with this. Haven't decided what that's gonna be yet, but it'll probably be pretty cool. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.